Hi everyone, Vicki Verley here, Rock and Roll Prophetess, and we're going to take a look at the full moon chart, which is occurring on November 6th, 2014, at 14 degrees of Taurus. If anybody cares, or if you can even notice, this will be the last week with the laptop, hopefully, but it doesn't actually look too bad. But anyway, so here it is, this full moon in Taurus, and it's kind of off to itself. It's kind of off over here by itself. It is aspecting Pluto. It's a trining to Pluto, and of course opposing all the Scorpio stuff. And then looks like a square to Juno down here. And what's going on here? It's sextiling Chiron. They don't really have that noted too strong, but it is a. This would probably be the, besides the Scorpio, the closest aspect is a sextile to Chiron. And it's doing something with Uranus here too at 13 degrees. And something here with Vesta here. So it is making, even though it looks like it's sitting here off by itself, it's making all these aspects. So that may be something to note or think about later. But really look at, here's the draw, the Scorpio energy. We've got just Mercury still hanging back with the node at 27, about to, it's direct, it's going to go in there too. And it's like they're all gathering together to say goodbye to Saturn, or see Saturn off as Saturn moves on into Sagittarius and exits, you know, the Scorpio energy, and all these planets are coming with it, coming in there to join up with it. So a lot of Scorpio energy. Really though, you know, besides this big cluster, when I opened this chart up, what I noticed, again, I was going for these aspect lines, and it reminds me totally of a gemstone here, a faceted gemstone. It's kind of pivoting down here on the bottom. Also, this reminds me of like a pendulum, that there could be a thing coming up from the top of this, and this is a pendulum. And so what's the pendulum pointing at? It's pointing at the Leo energy. So that's something we want to maybe think about too. You know what else I feel though? It's like swishing. What's that thing that swishes and cuts and I don't know what it's called. I think it might probably used for lumber, but like in old like Batman movies or whatever, you know, you'd be under that and it was or some kind of, you know, it was always the villain would tie you to the thing and it would be coming down, swinging back and forth like a giant blade. I don't really know what that's called, or I don't know what it's reminding me of that too. So just throwing that out there. And then the other thing I see in this in the aspect lines is, of course, looks like a pyramid with the prism. You have a light going through with the prism energy, like the Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd album. Which is interesting because it's totally not the full moon is totally not the dark side of the moon. It's totally the new moon would be the dark, you know, the dark of the moon. The full moon is when the moon is at its brightest, and it's going to be shining a light on all of these things. So it's going to be shining a light. This is still this feminine down here. And, you know, with the Leo and the regalness and everything, it's kind of like this goddess energy, or, you know, yeah, treating, I want to say like treating yourself well, like a Leo would, you know, maybe being a little selfish at times, maybe not selfish, but self-care, you know, and not just always, and you know, Taurus definitely has that vibe about them too. They enjoy some nice luxury, the finer things in life. You know, and you put these two together, that's, you know, this is often in sun sign astrology, I'll often see long-lasting couples of Taurus and Leo, and it's always like, oh, that's never going to work, it's a square, they're both fixed. No, but they both like the finer things in life. They like luxury items, they like treating themselves well. So this is kind of the vibe about that. Or, you know, and again, with the sextile to Chiron, I was going to say, or it could be, you know, shine a light on where you're not treating yourself well. You know, maybe where you do have to do a little more self-care or putting yourself first, you know. And, you know, this is a thing that many of us do, you know. We put the other first. And that's something that in general women have, you know, throughout history have been trained to do. And things are different for the women. And this is the feminine energy too, even though it's Leo and everything, the sun, which is totally masculine. But it's Juno, it's Lilith. So these are female icons, female, you know, goddesses, or these are definitely female in the mythology of it. They're represented by women, okay? And Queen of the God, Juno was Queen of the Gods, I believe. And then Lilith had her. She was the first woman too, so there was some power. It's kind of that same thing of the Leo energy. It's before all others or something. And Jupiter's there. But Jupiter, and that Lilith can be dark and everything, yeah. And there's this, a lot of the Lilith energy is, still being uncovered to us. We're still discovering Lilith. I think, just in general, everybody is. Oh, I think I hit my little clicker by accident as I was pointing. Sorry about that. But anyways, but Jupiter's coming in there, so it's adding energy to it. The full moon is squaring this, so that's going to bring a light to that. It's trining Pluto, so bring a light to the changes of Pluto that's happening now with the Saturn and Pluto, because it's Capricorn, it's Saturn, it's long term. Again, back to Saturn is finishing up. So there's like it's almost like this is like the night watchman or somebody coming along with his flashlight, and he's like. Okay, well, have we finished this up? And are we going to finish this up? And has this been taken care of? And it's making aspects to all these things. And, even though it's Taurus and everything, this is, all this Scorpio energy in the northern hemisphere. We are in this darker, Scorpio energy time. And there's an element of that darkness with the Scorpio. But see, Venus is in there too to kind of, not pacify it, but you know what I mean, make it... I guess you don't if I'm not telling you. But no, like lighten it. Just as Jupiter is affecting Lilith here, Venus is affecting the Scorpio energy, including the Saturn and everything. And then the Sun also, bringing in levity is not quite what I'm trying to say, but it's on that. That's kind of close to what I'm trying to convey here, because Scorpios aren't very light, they're deep. Scorpio energy is deep. It's not light. It's deep, dark, and it's truth though too. It's like burn to the soul. Right there, bare your soul, whether you want to or not. A Scorpio can just get right in there, and it does. But with the Venus, and it makes it lesser. It makes it not so. It brings it more lighter, and I'm not meaning lighter like airy lighter. I'm in weight. I'm meaning levity as far as energy. I'm more like I don't know. I'm seeing like butterflies and stuff. I'm so getting tongue tied here a little. Sorry, but I'm trying to kind of combine the psychic, and I'm getting a lot of stuff like about butterflies, which I guess are air, which is also transformation. Butterflies are big time transformation, as is Scorpio energy, death and rebirth, Pluto. It's the changing time. So a lot of direction pointing at that. From its opposition of Taurus. So from its, the seventh house, from the other, what's being reflected back to us through the other about our deep, dark places in ourselves, or our deep, dark, secrets, or whatever it might be. Mercury's still in Libra. Mercury's still, and then we've got these higher degrees here too, so there's an element of finishing up. And the full moon has an element of finishing up and bringing to a head. And that's what I just feel like. I got this like night watchman. I'm getting visions of that with him shining his little flashlight. And it's what I'm seeing as he's walking down. And I'm getting visions. This is crazy. I normally don't get visions on the general readings, but I am. So I'm going to spit it out. I'm seeing like a dude walking down a dock, like the docks at night. And he's got his flashlight, and he's, checking everything out, like getting ready to lock up, or lock it down for the winter, or lock it up. Let's lock. Are we got everything? Did we dig up every little thing that we possibly could with Saturn going through Scorpio? Did we really get it all? Because we're gonna maybe lock it up for another 28 years or something. This is a big thing when Saturn's changing its sign. It's like, last chance here, because it's not going to come around for another 28 years, for good or for ill. And Saturn is, always for your higher good in the end, and And if something's not working, why would you want to get locked into that for another 28 years? Or really, it could be 7 or 8 years. And that's often what I find with Saturn cycles. Something goes on 7, 8 years. You worked at a job 7, 8 years. You were in a relationship 7, 8 years. That's a Saturn cycle. That's a square. That's a quarter. So it's going to take 28 years. So we're going to do this, come all the way around this wheel and back to where it is. But in 7 years, it'll be squaring. Scorpio, it'll be an Aquarius. So it's going to make a square to the point it's at now. So these 7-year cycles make things happen big time with Saturn. So say this is hitting something of yours right now. In 7 years, Saturn will be squaring it right now. Or say it's squaring something of yours right now. In 7 years, it could be conjuncting it or opposing it or something. It's going to be reactivated on a hard angle, on a square. And these are Saturn cycles. So do you want to get stuck with something for the next 7, 8 years, minimal, possibly 28 years, you know? So these are big decision times if this is affecting you directly. It's affecting everybody, but different people's charts, you know, it's going to hit differently. There's always that going on. And Mercury, you know, of course, is a quick-moving planet, so it goes, you know, it moves very quickly, and it's not as profound as some of the slower moving planets can be, their impact. And the impact of Saturn, you know, you might want to look at the last 2.5 years, you know. That's where you can go with, and if you're old enough, you can say, well, what was going on 28 years ago? And what was going on over the last and how does that correspond to what was happening over the last 2.5 years, you know, and Saturn's about growth and change too, you know, and Scorpio, for sure, it's about change. And so it's like, well, how far have I come since then? Did similar circumstances come up again? And how did I handle it better or worse or the same? You know, what have I learned in this time? Okay. Learning lessons, you know. Saturn's kind of about teaching you lessons. That's another part of Saturn. Saturn's also karmic. So sometimes if you get put through the ringer during these Saturn transits, you know, it can be like, well, you just chalk it up to karma. You know, you had the thing about karma, though, so sometime regarding past lives or whatever, or it can even be in your own life. So say you were mean to somebody, just on a real elementary level, okay, we're mean to somebody. So in the next life, you have to know what it's like for somebody to be mean to you. You know, you have to know how it's felt. It has nothing to do with who you are in this lifetime. Maybe it doesn't seem fair, or there's no rhyme or reason, or why are they being so mean to me? But you just have to experience it. And then so you did, you know, and just because, and we all go through that. We all get hurt. People are mean to us. People are not, you know, it's life. That's part of life. So, you know, the human condition. But the thing with Saturn is you don't have to stay and linger on it, or with karma in general. You can be like, okay, I experienced that, and on I go. You don't have to stay in it and get into victim mode, and that's kind of the Saturn energy too, you know. And I've been there, you know, a lot of people, we've all been there from time to time. But you don't have to fall into that. You can just kind of say, okay, I see now, you know, that, you know, you just you can get some enlightenment if you can just kind of step back and get detached from it a little bit here. You know, don't be the eagle. Be the eagle energy of the Scorpio energy. The eagle is the highest form of the Scorpio energy. And the eagle isn't like the mouse. Well, blah, 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 and you did this and that, and blah, 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 and every little tiny thing. The eagle is just looking at the big picture. It's like, okay, well, that happened. And now, you know, I'm scouring the sky. I'm above it. I'm flying above it. I'm not going to get bogged down by, you know, earthly matters or... you know, the eagle is a different kind of energy. I just went to the zoo yesterday and I saw my eagle friend. He's getting older, but I was remembering this time I saw him, and he's just looking, staring. I was on the outside of where he's at. You can go around the back, sort of back of the building, and I always go back there to say goodbye on my way out when I'm leaving. But I remember this time, and he's there, and he's looking, and he's staring. I'm like, what the heck are you staring at? And I'm looking, and I had to move some plant foliage around, and sure enough, there was a snake there. This little tiny garter snake. But boy, he had it. He had it in his field of vision, through all the junglage and stuff or whatever, the plant life, he saw it too. So when you get to that, the eagle eye, you know, when you can, it's both. It's a dichotomy. It's both seeing the big picture, but also being able to really zero in. But by first looking at the big picture. I just saw this bird the other day too, coming off the freeway, and it was just on the wind, like in suspended animation. It's like the Matrix, wow, with its wings up, like Trinity in the Matrix with its. It was like that, but it was really windy, but it was like holding itself there, over. They go up high first and spy their prey, and then when they see it, bam, they have a straight arrow to it. But if they're just walking around on the ground, they're never going to see it. Okay. And walking around, crying and moaning about this, well, that mouse got away, and da 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 da. No, they take to the air. They let that go, and they look at the next thing, and then when they can see, you can get it's a different perspective from up there, and you can see different things, and maybe the suspended animation. I keep wanting to say that again, so I'm not really sure why, but but something about that. Maybe just being suspended, put things on hold until we really have a plan, a direct plan. And with the full moon, it's going to show you where your plan may not be working. Or this seems a lot about healing emotional stuff, though, because this is all the stuff it's involved with pretty much is water. It's involved with the Scorpio stuff, and it's Saturn. These are deep karmic relationships. It's sextiling the Chiron. I'm feeling like I wanted to touch on that too, because yeah, sextile the Chiron. So maybe it's like well, Chiron's that deep wound cleaning and healing and everything, and it's often painful and horrible. So maybe with the sextile, we could have an enlightenment about it that's not so painful. We could take it in a lighter way, or have forgiveness. I'm feeling like forgiveness, and I'm feeling like a lot of this is the inner child stuff that people are working on, because Moon is mother and Chiron is these deep wounds and everything, and I'm feeling a lot of that, and Scorpio is deep over here, so it could just be like, well, they were just human. I think about my own mother. She was 20 years old when she had me. She was just a kid, and just that puts things into perspective, like, it's just like, God, she was only 20 years old, she was just a young kid, they were married and everything, but they got married at 18, my mom was 18 when they got married. Even that, like, my mom was married at 18, and I look at me at that age, or definitely my daughters at that age, and it's, we were still kids. I was still a kid then, and so my daughters totally were too. And things are changing like that. So, maybe it's not, that's just something I, came upon it. But it just could be a lot of things, like your parents or whoever you want to blame for screwing you up or wounding you so bad. They're just human too, and they're just their own, they have their frailties, and that's that human condition again. And that, what's that famous saying comes to mind? To err is human, forgive divine. And I think that's a really apropos way to kind of sum up the energies that are going on here. But still by honoring yourself, because that Leo thing was the very first thing I was drawn to. So, and maybe that is part of honoring yourself, by not carrying around that baggage anymore, not having to. Because it is that you're carrying that burden, it's a burden that you're carrying, and you can get into that mode where you think that, okay, I'm like, you're still punishing them. I'm not still punishing them by holding up this wall of hatred or blame or whatever it might be, and really it's not. They don't give a care. They could care less for the most part usually. And it is just that drinking of the poison, the resentment of drinking the poison, expecting the other person to drop dead. So instead of doing that, success is always the best revenge or reward, or just take time to self-care, take time to love yourself like Leos do, not get in that dark Piscean Scorpio place that can be dark and dank, because even thinking negative thoughts or any kind of thoughts that you're thinking about them is you're directing your energy towards them, and you're wasting your energy on them. So instead, you could be using that energy to, you know, maybe treat yourself to something, or take a hot bubble bath, or, you know, something with fiery Leo energy. Go on a hayride, or go trick-or-treating, or do something fun, you know, go to a Halloween party. Well, this would be after Halloween, sorry. I'm thinking, it's being filmed a little before. So yeah, forgiveness is big in this. Really getting down deep in that old stuff, and shining a light on it, having enlightenment, realizing that the people, they're not these big bad boogeymen, that they are just people themselves, flawed and wounded themselves, you know. So just, you know, think of it that way, and direct your energy towards some self-love here. Okay, everyone, so before we go, I wanted to quickly run over some of my stuff, the usual here. Of course, we got, if you're interested in astrology, I do this artwork from charts, the Tapestry of Life mandalas, and it's really cool. It's based on your chart. This is also where all my stuff is, if people always want to know. If you can't find the links, it is on my main page there, but Tapestry of Life, I put all my stuff just on the order page, which is the second page. Order, click here to be taken to the order page, and it has just everything here. Of course, first about how to order the mandalas, and then the different readings that I have. You know, this is a private consultation, and then the soul reading, you know, if we can talk in person, it's much better. This is pretty much more for people that just can't arrange communication one-on-one. And it's mainly past life stuff. You know, it's not really predictive at all. It's me going in and looking at your chart and vibing on your past life imagery and your karma. And if you want to focus on that in a regular reading, we definitely can. And I always do open the regular reading with a little bit of that for everyone. And then these are some of the computer stuff I get, but they're really cool. And there's the Edgar Cayce past life. This is based on Edgar Cayce's thousands of readings, and it's really I got a lot out of it, you know, and it confirmed some past lives that I thought that I had. This is the Flower Essence and Gems. It's about it's pretty cool. They're all cool. It's gemstones that might help align your energy, that might be lacking based on your chart, and aromatherapy, color therapy stuff. Animal totem charts. It's also based on the Native American astrology. It's pretty interesting. And then, of course, the most popular is always the year ahead. It's like a whole year of forecast. It talks about all your transits, and it gives interpretations for an entire year, and it's really reasonable. And of course, if you like these free readings, don't forget at the very bottom of the page, you can do it directly through my email, or there's the donate button. It makes it really easy to donate. Thank you all for watching. Of course, on my Rock and Roll Prophetess, I have a couple other channels too, both music. One for just regular kind of rock music and stuff, and then the second one is children's music. So if you have kids and you enjoy learning songs for kids, is my other channel. You can access it from the main channel. And of course, on the main channel, when you look under the About section, has all the pertinent links are there. I'm close to 1 million. I didn't even check that. Wow. Okay, so thank you all for watching and donating. It really makes it worthwhile to keep doing these charts, and all the feedback and referrals. And I mean, it's funny I said that. There has been a few referrals, but that was not what I was meaning to say. Your comments and feedback, I really do enjoy reading them. I read them every day, and I really like hearing all the feedback. And I don't always have time to write it all down, but it's rolling around in my brain, and things that people are asking questions I'm thinking about for future videos and stuff like that. So I really enjoy that. Sharing, liking, subscribing. And remember, you are love and beauty incarnate, and I'll speak to you soon.